All right, back here on CBS Sports HQ, dealing with some breaking news as Kyrie Irving has been suspended indefinitely by the Brooklyn Nets. This comes stemming from the promotion of some content that suggested anti-Semitic rhetoric. Irving then met with the media today and has since doubled down. We have David Samson in studio, host of Nothing Personal with David Samson, who always offers us his unique perspective. And here, David, interesting to get your perspective from a couple angles. Let's begin from the front office angle here. The Nets sort of in a dearth of leadership, at least from the head coaching standpoint, but still taking action here from the front office on Kyrie Irving. How'd we get here?
Let's go back to the timeline. This started with after he promoted this movie, which is a movie that is clearly anti-Semitic from start to finish. The NBA, not Adam Silver, and the Brooklyn Nets released a statement not mentioning Kyrie Irving's name, just talking about hatred in general, how it's not to be tolerated. Then Joseph Tsai had a statement, and this is days ago, where he again said, this is not something that we stand for. They were hoping the story would go away. When you're in a front office and you've got so many clouds around you, what you're trying to do is stop a story from having legs. But this story would not go away. Kyrie Irving did not help this story go away. Excuse me, what did he do? He had a chance with the media to apologize for what he did. He met the media today, and he did not apologize when asked specifically, are you sorry? Are you an anti-Semite? And his answer was, I can't be anti-something that I am. And then when asked, will you apologize? Are you an anti-Semite? He would not answer. There was no choice when you are in the front office but to suspend him. What's amazing to me, Joe, and what is shocking about all of this is the Nets had a roadmap of what to do. We've gone through years where there's been a racial awakening, where there's been social justice. We had George Floyd and all of the needless deaths that have happened over the years. The Nets knew what they needed to do, but they were reactive to the media and to the public, not proactive. And now they find themselves in a situation where it is a mess that is out of their control. So they suspended him just now. And what they said in the statement was fascinating. It's a undetermined amount of time, not to be under 5 games, and he's got to complete an objective remedial measures. Are they going to somehow educate Kyrie Irving in the next week? Is he somehow going to change his views in the next week? The Nets have now painted themselves into a bigger corner because they didn't lay out what Kyrie needs to do in order to get reinstated, which means this story will not go away. The next volley is Kyrie. Will he choose to be the victim, the martyr? Will he say, it's me against the world? Or will he capitulate and now apologize? And if so, will anyone believe him?
It seems to be an effort to get Kyrie Irving out of the public eye without a microphone in front of his face and off of the basketball court. If you'll allow me, I'll read that statement from the Brooklyn Nets. It reads, over the last several days, we have made repeated attempts to work with Kyrie Irving to help him understand the harm and danger of his words and actions, which began with him publicizing a film containing deeply disturbing anti-Semitic hate. We believe that taking the path of education in this challenging situation would be the right one, and thought that we had made progress with our joint commitment to eradicating hate and intolerance. They go on to say, we were dismayed today when given an opportunity in a media session that Kyrie refused to unequivocally say he has no anti-Semitic beliefs nor acknowledge specific hateful material in the film. This was not the first time he had the opportunity but failed to clarify. Such failure to disavow anti-Semitism when given a clear opportunity to do so is deeply disturbing, is against the values of our organization, and constitutes conduct detrimental to the team. Accordingly, we are of the view that he is currently unfit to be associated with the Brooklyn Nets. We've decided that Kyrie will serve a suspension without pay until he satisfies a series of objective remedial measures that addresses the harmful impact of the conduct, and suspension period served is no less than 5 games. So the only indication of timeline is 5 games and no less than that number, but there is some verbiage within that statement that suggests that Kyrie Irving and the Brooklyn Nets might never find common ground. You speak to sometimes from a character standpoint, what Kyrie lacks in his awareness and not just the social space, but in the way that he interacts with others here. He's someone who stands his ground on what he believes and whatever those beliefs may be. Do you think that I know we are just giving conjecture here, but there's a chance that we've seen Kyrie Irving play his last minutes of basketball in a Nets uniform?
If I am running the Brooklyn Nets, I'm not allowing him, and it has nothing to do with me being Jewish. What exactly is he adding to our team? He's become completely the opposite of additive. And I would point out the scariest part about this is the microphone may be gone because his uniform is gone. He's got over 20 million followers on various platforms. The danger of someone with that type of voice who is spreading hate and anti-Semitism and that sort of language, that doesn't go away because of the suspension. But we should note that the union, the players' union, will have to decide whether they're going to get involved. If you're going to terminate a player and choose not to pay him, the union is going to get involved, and the union will have to decide, are they going to grieve this? Are they willing to go before an arbitrator to say that this is an unfair suspension? It is very rare for a union to turn its back on one of its members. That said, if there were ever a time to do so, it would be now. But my experience with unions is they represent their players no matter what. If the Nets are willing to pay him, they could just release him and pay the balance of his contract, and he'd be an unrestricted free agent. What will the Nets do? That's what they're meeting about. What's amazing to me, nothing in my mind has changed. The statement says what changed is that he met the media today and didn't apologize. Did they think that he was going to? So now he'll have opportunities to make good on his social media platform if he chooses, but I would not hold your breath that an apology is forthcoming.
Now, David, in the crucible of sports, let's not kid one another here that the punishments are often levied relative to a player's status, a player's performance, a player's productiveness. Kyrie Irving is no doubt one of the greatest to ever dribble a basketball. Nobody's got a handle like Kyrie, but that's become such a far cry from what we think about this individual. The fact that it is one of the faces of the game being levied this sort of suspension in this moment socially, what does this tell you about where the league is at, where this franchise is at, and maybe even about where Kyrie Irving's at?
So for me, running a team, and I hated to admit it when I was doing it for those 18 years, but we did look at the quality of the player when we were handing out punishments. Whether it was a DUI, whether it was conduct detrimental to the team, the fact is that more often than not, talent would win. That said, there are now, thankfully, certain third-rail issues where no matter the talent, there is nothing that you can do to save that player. And the Nets are getting perilously close to that. And I believe that you will not see Kyrie Irving in a Nets uniform for a very long time, if ever.
David, we appreciate the insight, as always, on this topic and all topics, as Kyrie Irving has been suspended indefinitely by the Brooklyn Nets. Thank you. And don't forget, more on this and all things ball on Nothing Personal with David Samson, our guy offering up his unique perspective on everything inside and outside the lines. You must listen, download, subscribe, and enjoy Nothing Personal with David Samson.
Do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis, no yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.